We are here on Brick Lane for South by Southwest London. We're actually hosting an event at All Star Lanes, a marketing leadership summit, bringing leaders from the marketing industry, cultural leaders and creators to come together to learn, share and connect. And this is what we do best, right? We had different events over the last coming months, and I'm really excited about some of the sessions, leaders from Mars, leaders from Unilever, leaders from a lot of big brands. It's gonna be great. South by Southwest is such an iconic event in Austin, Texas. To be here, to meet a lot of people can help push the needle forward, whether that's for your own network, whether that's on a project that you're working on, or for me personally, there's a lot of people here that I'm looking at speaking with for Creator Sports Club. We're nearly about to launch. Today also, Michelle Obama's here, which is pretty cool. They had Sadiq Khan, the London mayor. So there's a lot of kind of political, cultural figures as well from like large brands coming to share their insight on kind of where the world's at today. So for me, it's important because, like I've said before, networking is one of the most important ways that you can really evolve and develop your business. I've been looking at the agendas, I've been seeing the different stages that I want to kind of participate in or be at, knowing the different kind of people that will be at those events. And so it's an exciting day and looking forward to the rest of the week. All right, so super busy time now. It's like crunch time. We are nearly there. We're approved in the Apple Developer Program with Creator Sports Club. It's now really my job to think about the launch strategy. And because we're bootstrapping, what I'm doing is identifying creative ambassadors in the different launch cities. So happy and excited about the latest designs. I think kind of the colors are so on trend and the feeling and the vibe of the logo is pretty awesome. And now it's about getting people excited. So like coming to events like South by Southwest London, the events that I'm hosting, being at Cannes Film Festival, every conversation that I've had has just been super positive in terms of the feedback and kind of the initial reaction to the idea and the spark of kind of excitement about the kind of the beauty of simplicity of what Creator Sports Club's about. Literally just connecting with other creative entrepreneurs, creative founders on the first of every month. And as I hear and listen from other people about how they're activating, how they're engaging with creators, the power of community, all of these things, it's like tick, 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 tick. That is exactly what we're doing at Creator Sports Club. It's the summer, it's exciting, let's go. Very pleased to introduce our first fireside chat of the day, Creativity as a Growth Engine, Graham from Oucher and Patricia from Kimberly-Clark. Before then we will break, and after this session we'll be downstairs for unlimited bowling, drinks and networking, so we're excited for that, so do stick around this afternoon. Sport is Culture with Ross Arnold, Head of Europe from Revolution, Kenny from WePlay, Rob from The 100 and Jenny from Chipotle. All right, guys, that is end of day 2 for Brand Innovators at South by Southwest London. We are now open for drinks and bowling, so go downstairs, have some fun. We've got another group of networking 5 to 7, and then there's dinner. So enjoy, thank you. We're now bowling. So a really great day, a lot of different senior leaders from big brands like Unilever, Mars, Wayfair, MasterCard, and like Raja, who's a bit of a legend. His book is actually being taught at Harvard right now, which is pretty impressive. He was the global CMO of MasterCard for many years. As of January 1, he retired, and he's now stayed on as a senior fellow within MasterCard. And he was just like a fountain of knowledge, told some incredible stories. And for someone like that, as a marketeer, with also an engineering background, really getting a grasp on AI. And I think, at one point he really got people to have goosebumps in the room, because the way that he was talking about AI was, yes, it's an enabler, but for many of us will help speed up that idea process. One of the things that he was talking about was the importance of interpretation and still the ability to have taste and like the power of human creativity. Like we can use AI to help speed up ideas. That's something that we heard from the OpenAI creative director, Chad Nelson, at Cannes Film Festival.
What I hope with these tools it allows you to do is essentially improve and enhance your creative, to work through all the risky options or the experimental options to get to that thing that actually makes it the best solution or the best idea that you can get on paper or on screen.
He also mentioned we as learners adopting this new technology, the importance of your network and experimentation. Like we need to share tips, we need to speak to our peers, but also just don't read books and rely on theory. Like we actually need to test out the AI. He was saying like for him, you know, the value of actually investing not in like the cheap or free tier, but like getting that $100 a month tier of the AI tool, whatever you're using, really working with it to see what it can do for you. I think another thing that I just found so cool was, you know, we're in this era of change and how this new technology is kind of forcing us to develop and innovate this next stage of marketing. So advertising and marketing as we know it, the traditional ways of developing it, producing it, and measuring it is gonna change dramatically over the next 1 to 5 years. You know, forget about 10 years. Like it's something that I don't think a lot of us have kind of come to terms with, but through that change, we'll probably see some really innovative kind of creative ideas, which is super interesting. And lastly, like at the end of the talk was that AI is gonna make us come together as humans. Like the value of humanity in real life connection. You know, I've spoke about this before on the other vlogs, like I'm hearing it at all these different sessions. And especially if you look at kind of the rise of sports and sports marketing, we're seeing it in real life at scale. So that gets me excited because if we're then able to create this amazing app called Creator Sports Club where, you know, through a simple mechanic, using technology to identify a vetted community of creators and creative entrepreneurs, and on the first of every month that you get matched with them to then meet in real life. You know, people are craving that connection. You know, we're seeing that with the trends of run clubs. We're seeing that with the trends of paddle. You know, and all of a sudden you know who you're meeting. Like that's why we get super excited about this. And at the top level, we're seeing that kind of from mass sport excitement, adoption, right the way to like hearing about brands and agencies that are looking for different ways to engage creators, to build community, and then like wrap that with AI. That's fucking cool. Busy day, you know, one of the things always still, you know, people are like, oh, you're doing so many things. And I'm like, well, so what? You know, I like being a polymath. I want to be a polymath. You know, that's why I really respected like Virgil Abloh is he was truly a polymath. You know, he was a DJ, he was a fashion designer at the highest level. You know, he did a lot. I find it, you know, dare I say it, I think culturally in UK and Europe, you know, some people can kind of question or raise an eyebrow and think kind of you need to do the traditional like one job, and that's not me. You know, I'm fortunate to be in a position as a consultant working on different projects, different brands. And yeah, it is a lot of work, but I love what I do. And I think what's amazing about now with Creator Sports Club is I've got a fantastic kind of co-founder team, you know, between the three of us, me as kind of CEO, vision, marketing, community, Julian as the chief product officer, leading all the design strategy and decisions, and then Andy, you know, as the chief technology officer, really managing a lot of the app build and development and tech behind the scenes. And the truth is, like, we're all so busy, and then every Friday morning, that's when we meet and we discuss kind of the progress, what's happened, what needs to happen that following week. You know, I do believe in the importance of kind of having time to switch off and not kind of being in it all the time. But as we are gearing up to launch, truthfully, like, the weekends do tend to be those 2 days where I'm not distracted by external influences from kind of the different businesses that I'm consulting on. I'm able just to have that clarity of mind. I can go for a walk. I can kind of tackle a creative problem. I can think about, you know, some of the ideas that I've shared with the team on the Friday morning. I look forward to having those mornings. You know, I've also got the content team, the editors and the creative director, you know, check in with them on a Friday, you know, discuss kind of what we've shot in the week, what's coming up, the plan. I tend to publish the vlogs on a Sunday. So having a structure, having kind of regular check-ins, something that I learned from my agency days. You know, I'm a true believer in over-communication. I'm a big believer in and having regular syncs. One thing that I do that's a top tip is if you're working with a client, actually get their mobile number and get them on WhatsApp, because, you know, a phone call's great, email is structure, formal, but if you're able to build a relationship with the client and then actually use WhatsApp to casually ask questions, check in, something that I've been doing, you know, as we kind of lead up to Cannes Lions. For some of my larger clients, there's a lot of moving parts, there's kind of complex builds and load-in times and logistics that they're managing, and then I'm kind of the main point of contact with kind of the platform we're providing them at the beach and at the villa. Just checking in, being proactive. You know, I've mentioned this before. If you're reactive, you've already made a mistake. I think a lot of people don't value client service. You know, it's so hard getting that first deal. It's so hard winning a client and getting them to pay you money that you can actually lose the deal by not delivering on what you promised. And so client management, client service, client delivery is so important. And I think if you're proactive, you're coming to them with ideas, you're communicating. And so as an example today, I just WhatsApped my client saying, hey, you know, how are you getting on? Have you heard back from so-and-so? Do you need anything else? And straight away they message, you know, thanks for following up, you know, this, and this. So yeah, over communicate.
So we're getting a sneak peek at the new UI.
Yeah, so one of the things that Julian uses is Figma. And so all the UI, the UX, so like if you don't know what that is, so UI is the user interface. So that's like the look and the feel of the app, the design, the colors, and then UX is user experience. So a lot of consideration goes into every step of the customer journey. So, you know, a big thing that we have been focused on is making the onboarding process as seamless as possible, whilst making it feel premium, because Creator Sports Club is a membership, it's for vetted members, and so we need to capture specific information and different details, and we want that experience to not feel clunky. We don't want it to take a lot of time. We want it to be relatively smooth, and then once you've become a member, what does that look like? So what we're actually doing, as Andy discussed in the last vlog, is we're building an online app with technology that's actually to help you connect with people in real life. You know, we don't want a lot of features on the app. We want it to be engaged for the mechanic of finding like-minded people, but we don't need or want lots of additional kind of things, you know, that almost gamify it too much, because actually what we believe in is identifying the right people that are like-minded, connecting you with them, and then allowing you to then decide what you'd like to do each month. You could go play paddle, you could go play, you know, 2-on-2 football, soccer, go for a swim, or maybe you want to do something more chilled and just kind of meet and go for a coffee and a walk or a hike. But you can see what we were doing is all these like little J's where we're going through the designs. You can see there's different flows to like account creation. You know, when you confirm and pay, what does that look like? You know, opt in and match with the squad. Edit, how can you edit your profile on your account? You know, what are the settings? And then ultimately, this is the UIs. So the UI is the look and the feel, but the UX is literally every single frame, because every single frame here is what happens. Like, okay, now I've entered my email address, great. Okay, now I've become a member, like what happens next? So you literally have to think of every single step. And that's why it can take time. And then add in feedback and then add in revisions. You know, we thought we'd be launched in April, and now it's early, mid, maybe late June. So yeah, so this is the UI, the UX, the UI, the UX. So this is the UI. These are all the different steps. And this is a great canvas. It's literally a digital canvas using Figma for the flow, how the user's going to use the app. And so yeah, as I said, every week we're having conversations, reviewing this, and then what happens is Julian is sharing the designs with Andy, who then takes those and then he's updating and developing it on the back end to bring it to life. And then actually having it on my phone as like a real app is just so exciting. And I can't wait, you know, we'll get past the stage of just testing as co-founders and then can share with family and friends, and then get to a point where we do launch. And I think having it as a membership kind of vetted community is great, because we can kind of, you know, keep it exclusive, but almost limit the amount of users that will be using the app. But then that helps us because we want feedback. That was amazing, you know, in the sessions that I had today at South by Southwest London, like some of the biggest leaders are talking about the importance of community and feedback. And that's exactly what we're doing. The British weather, man, like you can never predict. Well, I was saying this, I think it's that you can make a lot of money if you can predict the weather, especially in the UK. But maybe that's kind of the fun of being here. Like, you think it's sunny, but no, it's rainy. We're gonna go for dinner now, so lots of people in town. Want to bring everyone together. You know, individual days, people can only commit a certain amount of time. So what we're gonna do is bring everyone together. We're gonna have kind of a networking. Again, letting people's guard down, connecting in real life, energy, vibe, having fun is key. It's about creating real experiences and memories that people then will remember, and that's why they'll come back. We'll sit down for what we call a VIP dinner. So that's for everyone to then really meet each other, share bread, share food, and you know, people can have real solid conversations.
That's it, mate. That's what
Exactly, like he said.